Hey there. Oh, God, it's freezing today, isn't it? So I see you. I see you there. I see you there with your big heart doing good in this world. Service is your baseline, and you are doing really well at work, but you're also juggling the whole of life stuff, plus guilt attached to all of it. Now, maybe you think that balance is a myth. Maybe you even think that balance is a bit of a sick joke, dreamt up by a middle-aged man in PR slash advertising slash HR, purely to keep you striving. Maybe you think that balance is just there to make you stretch for the impossible carrot. But balance is not the problem. Striving for what you think balance is supposed to be, that's the problem. So let me say this. Nobody is promoting people based on effort invested. Nobody is saying, you've worked really hard, let me promote you. And honestly, I don't want that to be your goal. What we want is fully aligned effort, fully aligned effort, effort that's anchored in your values and tuned into what gets you impact and visibility. What we want is that when an opportunity shows up, you are already on the shortlist. We want to unlock the method that makes you the obvious choice. Because let's be real, the market is saturated. The market is saturated. The more senior your roles, the longer you've worked, the more saturated the market is, right? But you get to be the right choice for the right opportunities for you. Now, I don't know exactly why you're here today. Maybe it is because you want more balance in your life, more energy, more of you back on your priority list. Or maybe you want balance for your team. Maybe you want the performance uplift that comes from energized people. Or maybe you want balance as a performance tool. Maybe you are eyeing the next career step, even though it feels like you're already given your all and you are not quite sure how to make space for more. And maybe you're not here for career acceleration at all. Maybe you're just here to feel less guilt, more joy, and a little more of you in your own life. So whatever it is that brings you here, welcome, welcome. If you don't know me, I'm Kath. I've been a leadership coach for 20 years. I've won awards for creating change, for leadership. I've received the People's Choice Awards for coaching. That one was a global award based in London. I still can't quite believe it. I've also written 4 #1 best-selling books on confidence, leadership, and being heard. So this session is the method that I use to help my clients to build presence and deepen connection, grow visibility, and stay respectful to what matters most to you. So I am talking about things like clarity, confidence, and specificity, the kind that makes people advocate for you when you're not in the room. And that applies whether we're talking about your workplace or whether we're talking about, your workplace or whether we're talking about your home space, right? So this is what is it that makes people, sorry, I'm just jumping back and forth as we go through to let people into the room as we go. So yeah, confidence, clarity, specificity, people advocating for you, whether we're talking about your workspace or your home space, your life space, wherever we're talking about, whichever part of your life needs the balance right now. By the end of this session, you'll understand why, although your work might be excellent, your brand may need work, because once we shift the way that you're showing up, then opportunities start showing up for you on the regular. So I want you to put a #1 in the chat for me. If you'd love more of those kind of regular shoulder taps, like in the workplace, it sounds like, hey, we think you'd be great for this. Would you consider it? At home, it might sound like, hey, you've been working really hard. Can we do something for you? Can we do something together? How can we carve more time out for you? Okay, nice. So I'm going to walk you through 3 powerful shifts. They're going to help you to switch some things on so that there's no more working every hour in the day, no more hoping someone notices and hoping that that'll be enough. Before we dive in, interaction is my love language. So I'd love you to make the chat box your new best friend. The video is probably your BFF for this session. So your chat box is going to be your second best friend. So let me know in the chat, why did you show up today? Okay, but here's a challenge. Tell me in just one word. And yes, it's totally okay if that word is money. Some people are like, all my life, I've said that money isn't the driver. Gosh, I hear this so often. People say, all my life I've said that money isn't the driver. And yet, here I am now watching people get promoted past me, people who are less competent and they're getting paid more and leaning on me to help them to deliver in the role that they got that I didn't want, but now they're getting paid more and I'm feeling really uncomfortable about that. Maybe a word is recognition, maybe it's opportunity, maybe it's authenticity, maybe it's peace or balance or energy. Awesome. So whatever your word is, I want you to be, I want you to be, and promotion. Beautiful. Thank you. Whatever it is, I want you to be unapologetic about it. Because if you are delivering value and you're not getting recognition or the lead on opportunities that your work deserves, then let me say this. It's not because you're not working hard enough. Put a 2 in the chat if this is you. So many high-performing women think, I just need to do more. If I do more, the opportunities will come to me. Does that resonate? Okay. So the key is it's not working harder. The key is it's because you're missing a few key triggers. So that lack of opportunities, um, it's because you're missing a few key triggers. You might be attracting attention, but attention doesn't equal authority, and authority is the key. It's the key to opportunities. So let's press pause here and go a little bit deeper because people trust they're looking for people that they trust to lead them, right? The ones who feel anchored, decisive, intentional, not the ones who feel like a value add but not quite ready or overcooked but desperate. I think we've all been there, right? Like that stage in your career, probably earlier on, where you knew that you were looking eager, you were working hard, you were even on your HR team's high potential list. Maybe you also bought into the idea that vulnerability is key message. Share your pain, be relatable. But my friend, that advice, it wasn't meant for you. It wasn't meant for you. You are already a connector. That advice, that advice was for the stone-faced, those stone-faced hard asses who needed humanizing. And that's not you. Because when values-driven women overshare vulnerability, it is too easy to appear damaged, not strong enough to lead through the tough stuff. So we come back to this: anchored, decisive, intentional. Do you want to be seen as a leader, not a peer? Authority isn't about being the loudest or the most polished or the biggest expert in the room. So tell me, has anyone here ever said, I just need to do one more course and then I'll be ready for my next move? It's not about that. It's not about being the most qualified. It's about energetic leadership, clarity, resonance, presence, the kind of impression that makes influential decision makers say, yes, she gets it. She can save us. She can save us from our problems, because they can see that not only are you confident in your domain, this is so important, but that you understand the bigger picture, the context in which you are operating. That is the woman they say yes to. Not the one who's quietly waiting, hoping to be asked to the dance. This isn't arrogance. It's not about being the friendliest or the loudest or the one with the biggest network. This is about holding the energy of certainty so that others feel safe investing in you. Drop a 3 in the chat for me if this is landing. Drop a 3 in the chat for me. Beautiful. Okay, awesome. Thank you. So holding the energy of certainty so that people feel safe saying yes. You're showing up with confidence, with clarity, consistency, so that if your work is drawing compliments but not offers, if people are saying, wow, you're awesome at this, you're amazing, but they're not asking you to lead the next thing or offering you the salary to match, then we need to look at 3 things. We need to look at energy, brand, and presence, not just the quality of your work, because as we said, quality does not equal ascension. I'm going to say it again. Quality does not equal ascension. You might know in your own world, you might have seen people you might have seen that the most brilliant people are not necessarily the ones that get promotions, right? Quality does not automatically equal ascension. You might be delivering brilliant work, but quality doesn't guarantee your next step. I know, I'm sure you've seen this, yeah? Yeah. The people who get promoted, they're not always the most competent. You've seen some less than competent people fly through promotions. Yeah, and sometimes the most competent are overlooked again and again because um, if this is sounding familiar, it's because most of the effort that I see women investing is in delivering high quality work. It's not converting to opportunities. You're already operating at your level, but you're not bringing next level certainty, and that's your blocker. You'll be respected, relied upon, maybe even adored, but your name is not necessarily being put forward for that next level opportunity. And let's be really clear, that opportunity might be a step up. It might not be a step up. It might actually just be a step into something more interesting. So if this sounds familiar, drop something in the chat for me, hands up in the chat. If you've ever thought, they like me, they say I'm great, so why aren't I getting the next step? Yeah, cool. Okay, so let me break it down. We'll start right now. Ready? So there's 3 triggers that I want to walk you through. The first one, so trigger number 1 is communicating from power, not politeness. Okay, this is the most common and misunderstood block that I see with women in leadership, brilliant women in leadership. It's not that you're not saying the right things. It's that you're communicating in a way that doesn't land with power. You are aiming for polish over presence, for professionalism over persuasion. You've heard that communication is key, but a mix of imposter syndrome, culture, and a lack of role models who look or lead like you has created this belief that to be understood, you need to be something different. You need to be more articulate than you are. You need to be more composed than you are. You need to be more perfect than you are, more polished, more emotional. No, more polished, less emotional, less fragmented, and less you. Oh, it breaks my heart every time I have this conversation with someone about communication, because here's the truth. Powerful communication, it's got less to do with what you say and everything to do with what you understand. It's that simple. It's not about being the best speaker. It's about context. It's about reading the room. So let me ask you something. Have you ever, have you ever put together a bio or an elevator pitch or delivered a presentation that you thought that sounded smart, that I don't think it landed? It's not a content problem. It's definitely not a capability problem. It's a context problem. The thing is, you're not wrong. What you've presented isn't wrong, but it might be missing the language of urgency that your audience uses. You're speaking leadership and they're hearing logistics. You're speaking values, they're hearing velocity. It's not a tone problem, it's a translation problem. I want you to drop a number for me in the chat. Drop a 4. I think we're up to 4 in the chat. If you've ever said something that was smart, strategic, thoughtful, and then watch someone else say it louder, rougher, simpler, and they got the credit. Yeah, there's the gap. The gap between the way you describe your contribution and the way they describe the problem that they need solved. And that gap, that's what's costing you visibility, credibility, and opportunities. This is not about dumbing down, right? It's not about dumbing down. It's about speaking with strategic clarity, not just clarity for clarity's sake, clarity that mirrors the concerns of the people you need buy-in from. So that instead of explaining your value, you're demonstrating it. This is what starts with your communication. It starts with the one-liner, your interrupt meetings, your comments in high-stakes rooms. I find that not everyone uses LinkedIn, right? Not everyone uses LinkedIn, but for the most part, if you are someone who is a working woman, it's likely that you have a resume in some form, and that may or may not translate to your LinkedIn profile. So I find that LinkedIn profile, that first part of LinkedIn, where you've got that little, the first part that kind of sums up who you are and what you stand for, that little bio holds magic because it gives us an opportunity to see, well, it gives us a window into how you present yourself and how you see yourself. So your LinkedIn bio is not where your next opportunity comes from directly, usually, but it is a mirror for how you see yourself. So I want you to have a look at it, even if it's just in your head. And I want you to ask yourself, is this written like a credentials list? Is it looking like a trophy cabinet? Or Is it a mirror for the people who I want to connect with? If it's written in polished leadership speak, things like strategic delivery of business value or driving engagement across a cross-functional stakeholder cohort, that's lovely. But nobody's lying awake at night saying, I need someone with cross-functional stakeholder engagement approach. What they're actually saying is, we need someone who can get the team unstuck. We are stretched, and I don't know if we're prioritizing the right things. Someone who can just handle it without ego, but with clarity. That's what they're trying to solve. So when you're messaging, either in your LinkedIn bio or in your conversations, when your messaging is polished but abstract, it sounds like white noise. You're doing what I call polite presence. It's not wrong, but it doesn't resonate. And when it doesn't resonate, it doesn't convert, not to opportunities or influence or authority. So here is a rule of thumb. If you wouldn't say it over a coffee with a trusted peer, don't say it that way in the boardroom. So I want you to put a 5 in the chat if this is landing for you, because this is how you begin to build authority. And it's let me see, how do I explain this? This is one of those areas that women in leadership are hemorrhaging. Like this is one of those areas that when I sit and talk with women in leadership, this is one of those areas that really have a big impact, huge impact. So this is how we begin to build authority, right? Not by using more impressive words, but by choosing the right words for the right people at the right time. Not by doing another course, not by waiting for permission, but by communicating your value in a way that connects and compels action. That's the difference between being liked and being chosen. So if this is making something click for you, I want you to drop the word shift into the chat. If you're rethinking, great. If you're rethinking the how you speak in rooms of influence, if you're rethinking how you've been introducing yourself, pitching yourself, or writing that next performance doc, say it out loud to yourself, shift. Because once you start communicating from power and not politeness, that's when that's when they stop saying, she's awesome. And they start saying, we need her. We need her in this role to solve this problem. So let's dive in. Let's dive in. This is trigger number 1. We're getting started now. So trigger number 1, energy is a performance. Sorry, energy number 2. Trigger number 2. I've got my numbers. I've asked you all these numbers. I've got my numbers middled up. So trigger number 2, energy is a performance tool, not a nice to have. We've been told that energy is a wellness thing, a personal thing. It's not. Energy is a business tool. Energy is a performance metric. It is your most valuable, most limited resource. So put a 6 in the chat for me if you are exceptional with time, but you're possibly constantly borrowing energy from tomorrow just to get through today. I want to say something gently but clearly. Most high-performing women who I work with, they are brilliant at what they do. They're smart, strategic, and solid. They deliver, but they are exhausted. And their exhaustion is invisible to others and ignored by themselves. We don't want to seem dramatic. We don't want to burden others. We think that energy will come after the next win. Once this project is done, I'll rest. Does that sound familiar? Or once I finish this extra bit of work, I'll book the leave. Or once I fix everything, I'll finally get okay. I'll feel okay. Sound familiar? Yeah, but here's the thing. When you lead through depletion, you are functioning, not thriving. Your presence flattens, your clarity fuzzes, your decision making slows down, even if you're still pushing through. And this is the one that is the real energy cost. You may not notice it in the moment. You may not notice that it's getting harder to do the work because you're drawing on adrenaline and the dopamine of having committed to a task and wanting to perform. But your decision making slows down. So if you're not being chosen for the next opportunity, it's not because you're not good enough. It might be because your vibe is giving off no extras today. You're sending out pick me. You're not sending pick me. You're sending out please don't, yeah? That energy is unintentional, but it's very, very real. So I want to ask you, are you showing up with an energy that says, I've got capacity, I have vision, I have space to lead? Or are you showing up with the mask on, high energy on the outside, empty inside? Put a 7 in the chat if this one hits. Now, I'm not saying you need to fake it. This is not about masking. This is not about performing wellness. This is about doing the work that lets you reclaim your energy as a leadership asset. It's adulting for your nervous system. Here's what I know. You might be parenting solo. You might be dealing with chronic stress. You might be navigating neurodiverse kids, a heavy home load, hormonal shifts, or even an ex who still makes your life hell. You don't need to show all that in the workplace, but you do need to build strategies that protect your energies in spite of all that. This is not toxic positivity. I am so much an advocate for, you know, leading you away from toxic positivity. This is not toxic positivity. Toxic positivity, that's leadership maturity. So here's your challenge. What would it look like to prioritize energy like it was a business resource? What shifts if energy becomes part of your KPI dashboard and not just your personal to-do list? I want you to drop the word fuel into the chat if this is something that you feel ready to claim, ready to reclaim. Cool. Okay, because energy is how you influence. It's the thing that people feel before you speak. It's what allows your ideas to land. And it's what creates presence without needing polish. And if your energy says, I'm holding it all together with duct tape, then no matter how strategic or capable you are, people will not hand you something bigger. Not because you're not ready, but because your energy is saying that you are already at capacity. You are already at the edge of your capabilities. So let's flip that, because when your energy is clean and grounded, you give off this. You are safe in my hands. I've got space. I'm ready for more. We add that to trigger number 1, the communication piece with understanding and communicating context. Then we go to, you're safe in my hands. I've got space. I'm ready for more. And I understand what you need. And that's what steps you into the next opportunity. All right, so trigger number 3, let's go. Trigger number 3 is you are leading in overdrive and it's invisible. Also known as you're doing 2 jobs and it's costing you. So this one is for the overachievers. This is for the high performers and when have 2 jobs and don't even realize it. Your first job, the actual job that you're paid for. Your second job, that's the work of proving it. And wait, there's a third. This is the unpaid one, the mental load, the invisible labor, the logistics, the care, 40 plus hours a week outside of work before you even get to sleep or health or joy. Just drop some eyeballs or a yes in the chat if this sounds a bit too familiar. Cool. So let me tell you something. Let me reassure you. It's not that you're doing it wrong. It's that you're doing too much of the wrong stuff for too little return. You are brilliant, capable, dependable. You are the one everyone trusts and turns to and leans on, but you're leading in overdrive and no one even knows that you're maxed out. Why is that? Maybe because you understand what not to make visible. Or maybe it's because you make it look easy. You overfunction quietly, you smooth things out, you pick up the slack, and somewhere along the way, being brilliant started to look like being available. Drop an 8 in the chat for me if that one gave you a chill. This is the paradox of high capability women. You're not getting the promotion because you are too valuable where you are. You're not getting opportunities because you haven't signaled capacity. You've been taught that good work speaks for itself, and it doesn't. Good work is expected, visibility is earned. So here's your reflection moment. Where in your week are you doing work just to earn your place? If results don't speak for themselves, then what needs to? Because reputation isn't built on output. It's built on narrative, perception, strategic presence. And if you're thinking, but if I'm not a self-promoter, I trip over my words at least once every hour. If you're thinking, I'm not a self-promoter, good, you don't need to be. This isn't about bragging. It's about owning your impact out loud. It's about clarity and presence and confidence in how you show up so that others stop overlooking you and start advocating for you. So I want you to drop the word visible in the chat if that's something that you're reclaiming today. Because this isn't about doing more. This is about getting more return from the effort that you already give. All right, let's do a quick recap. How are we going for time? Yay, we're so going well. Okay, so the 3 triggers. The first one, communicate from power, not politeness. This is about reading the room, context is queen. The second one, trigger number 2, energy is a performance tool, not a nice to have. It's not just wellness, this is how you lead. It's how you fuel your leadership, right? And number 3 is you're leading in overdrive and it's invisible. I want you to stop doing 2 jobs and start leading with leverage. So if this is sounding like, yep, you've got me, you're speaking my language, then maybe this is validation, maybe this is permission, maybe this is a really great kickstart. If you're thinking, yep, I want to go further, let me give you a couple of ways of how we might be able to do that together. My hope, my goal is that you've already got huge value just from the simple mindset shifts that you've picked up from today. If you want to go further and have some support in doing that, there's a couple of ways of how that might look. Balance for performance is for organizations who want their women to thrive and perform. So this is a combination of lunch and learn sessions with my Balance Code memberships. And that's for the women in your team. It's culture change, it's grounded in energy and performance, or group coaching. If you are after a leadership upgrade with a support circle, we have a small group that meets every couple of weeks. We operate on a 4-week focus cycle. We cover career leverage, difficult conversations, managing people, positioning yourself for the next step, literally stepping into that next step. Some in the group coaching are really settled in their current organization, but looking to gain more leverage within the next step for the next step. Others are recently have stepped into a new role and they're looking to leverage all of their capabilities to make sure that this next role is managing towards the one beyond this role, that they're doing really well in that role, having a great impact, that impact happens within alignment and that they don't burn out in the new role as they were leaning towards in the last or previous roles. So that's group coaching. And then there's the, if you are here for the upgrade just in your current life, like you want to make what you're already doing feel a bit more doable, more easeful, more energized, then this tiny little baby program is probably for you, this Balance Code membership. It's $25 a month. It is community, a work-life vibe reset. So I'm not going to run through a huge amount of detail for these. This just wanted to give you their headlines and let you know that I will drop the links into your inbox for you. No pressure, just possibilities. Because if your body already knows that something landed today, I implore you to not wait for that feeling to pass. You deserve to feel good while you lead well. And it would be a privilege to walk with you as you build that. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for bringing your energy. We've got a couple of screens operating today, and I'm grateful to have had you here in the lunch and learn with me in the coach session. Be balanced, be well. I look forward to seeing you soon.